FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
Mr. Neukom, we have a group of questions about the image of lawyers and the legal system in our society. Please talk about the image of lawyers. What do you perceive it to be, and how can it be improved? You have some questions about why are we such a litigious society? Do we rely too much on juries? And can juries really handle complex commercial litigation or be fair when minority rights or minority views are at stake? And they ask, do we have miscarriages of justice in our system as revealed by new DNA evidence affecting even those on death row? So some comments on the legal system, the image of lawyers, and how the ABA and your role in it can try to improve that image?
I think this is Tuesday night, and if you have a weekend, we can cover all of this. Image of lawyers. It's not very good. I don't think it's what it ought to be, but then I'm one of them. I think there is some misunderstanding of the role of lawyers just in this country. And I think that's because there's some misunderstanding of the value of the adversary system. If we didn't zealously assert the rights and the interests of clients, some of whom are alleged to have made mistakes or even done bad and criminal things, then I don't think this is a country where any of us would want to live. You ought to judge the quality of justice by how it serves the least of us, the least deserving, if you will, of justice. And so when lawyers are thought of as bad people for representing heinous criminals, people accused of heinous crimes, there's a misunderstanding. The process is greater than the individual case. And it's up to lawyers to step up and make sure that the process grinds very fine, which takes us right to the end of the line of questions. It is stunning to all of us, isn't it? How weak science has made possible the wrong results in nothing less than death penalty type cases. And there's this wonderful organization in New York, and if they haven't come to talk with you, invite them, the Innocence Project, which has really been at the forefront of the DNA effort. And the smart thing those people are doing is that when they win a case on DNA, they don't go back to the prosecutor and bait the prosecutor. They go back and talk about how a mistake was made. Because prosecutors, just like criminal defense lawyers, want the same thing. They want a just result. And prosecutors don't want to put people away or subject them to the possibility of a death sentence if they're not, in fact, guilty. So their stake in it is just as vital as the stake of the defense community. And the Innocence Project is spending more of its time now with scientists and prosecutors than it is with defense counsel. And they're moving beyond DNA. They're moving to things like eyewitness science and the extent to which what we think we perceive, we in fact didn't perceive. So there's a wonderful new phase of, I think, of the notion that good science needs to be much more central to the judicial process. And as it comes more into the judicial process, we will get fairer and fairer results on a more consistent basis. What can lawyers do to improve their image? I hope talk with their colleagues in other disciplines, learn with their colleagues from other disciplines, collaborate with colleagues from other disciplines. There is so much more that can be done together, and I do think that lawyers are trained and have attributes which are useful. We're no better than our other friends and neighbors in our communities, but we do some things. As Justice Breyer was saying this weekend, lawyers have meetings. Not meetings for meeting's sake, but it's kind of in our DNA. We have an idea, we have a question, we tend to want to have a meeting about it and discuss it. Lawyers are pretty analytical. Lawyers should be reasonably good communicators. Lawyers should be, if they're any darn good, well aware that there's almost always another side to the story. And you have to try to put yourself in the other person's shoes and see that person's perspective or on a particular subject or a particular problem. Lawyers are basically problem solvers. A good lawyer's job is to help a client avoid a legal problem. And if you can't succeed at that and the problem emerges nonetheless, then your job is to solve that problem for your client. And that's all, it seems to me, pretty healthy, positive stuff that communities ought to have some of. And we have some bad apples, I suppose, in our barrel, but I don't think more than our share compared with other professions or other disciplines. And we do have the calling. We are the stewards of this justice system. And it is, again, to come back to where I started, it is this fundamental foundation of justice that makes possible communities of hope and of purpose, where folks have a chance to, on their merits and on their own abilities, achieve their potentials.